Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 29 of FTB Infinity Evolved Skyblock mode. When I logged in today, I took a look at our node here. It has grown quite large. Um, that's a large node, but it's also killed off one of the nodes that's been bullying. So I think I'm going to call this node done, set it off to the side, and start growing another node. If the node size gets, like, if this node is too much bigger than the ones on the side, it starts bullying them too much, to the point where these, well, will eventually die off, like this poor node here has. So I'm going to swap this out, put it back in one of these slots here, and put a new node in the center. I also need I think air was our lowest resource, right? Is there a node here with lots of air to put in that one corner? That is aqua air. Do I have lots of aqua? Aqua is one of my biggest ones. All right, well, whatever. I'll do some node management real quick. Swap stuff around a little bit, and there's a new node. Well, I don't need the thermometer right now to see being grown here. It has air to begin with, so hopefully it'll just end up being a larger, it'll have a better proportion of aspects than this one. Although Ignis, I think it's the aspect I need most in this new node, or what my intentions for it are. But anyways, this is sit here and grow over the next couple days. We're actually going to put this node to use pretty soon, however. Anyways, until we get there, though, let's take a look at some other things we did earlier. We set up our Iridium we set up a lot more energy to pump into our Iridium production, and yeah, that's made a lot of Iridium. In fact, when the chest filled up, the UU matter started backing up into the tank. So we have 132 buckets of UU matter, plenty more going to the mass fabricator. It looks like our scrap is actually, we have like just the perfect amount of scrap production to keep the mass fabricator running, right? Like we just barely have none left in the drawer, but the mass fabricator still, at least almost all the time, will have scrap boxes in it, so it's running efficiently. Anyways, I'm going to replace this chest with a drawer because quite obviously a chest just doesn't hold enough iridium anymore. Turns out there was 3,522 pieces. Well, I guess probably a little bit less than that. But 3,520 some pieces of iridium available in that chest. They're now all stored in the drawer, which is on a storage bus and locked. So if we ever fill up this drawer with iridium, we have all the iridium we could ever dream of using, right? In fact, I wasn't planning on doing this initially, but let's put some of that iridium to use and just start making these solar panels. I'm pretty sure if I encode the recipe for ultimate or quantum solars, because we can already make hybrid solars, right? And this is for another stars each. Never mind. I was going to say if I encode the recipe for the quantum solar, we could just start making them. But no, we don't have another star source yet. That's a shame. Out of curiosity, I did encode the recipe for a quantum solar panel. Let's see if we could make one. If I got bronze plates, nether stars. And looks like that's it. So yeah, takes apparently only 648 iridium per. Let's have a quick change of plans and set up another star farm then. I'll set up bronze automation as well. But I kind of want to start making these. Not because we need the energy or anything, but just for fun. Bronze seems like a resource I'll be using a lot of in the future, so I set up a alloy smelter to passively make it. I also want it in block form, so I just store it in a compacting drawer. It's only made from, stuff I have infinite of, so I don't really care that we're going to eventually stock 1,000 bronze blocks, which is definitely a very high amount of bronze. But and then I take those blocks, put them in a cutting machine, you get plates. Voila. All right, so now we can make them passively, and we can, put them on demand if it turns out our passive production isn't enough. Now for the fun part, the wither farm. First of all, do I have wither skeleton skulls? I have 512 of them. That'll do. I think those are coming from our mob farm because I've left the it's laggy over here. Because I've left the witch water in it. As you can see, that is witch water there, so this mob farm is now producing mob skulls. Alright then. Or I guess it's producing wither skeletons from the regular skeletons all in. Let's see about what the best way to farm, or to actually kill the wizards would be. So the grinder, the from Mine Factory Reloaded cannot kill withers. Unfortunately, the mob grinder from Draconic Evolution can. Can we make one of these? Maybe with a little effort? We need 2 nether stars for that. Let me put this recipe in and see how close we get. I might have to manually make this, but yeah, let me put this recipe into the applied energistic system, and if all it takes for us to make it is to like manually kill a couple of withers, we can figure that out. Here's the crafting plan for the mob grinder, and it's actually not that far off. So the big thing that stands out to me is I actually never set up Draconium automation at all. We're going to have to do that. But besides that, we need 4 nether stars, I guess a 5th one to make the energy core. Piece of emerald ore, but that can be made from a block of emeralds, and mana dust. The etheric sword also requires a little bit of crafting with these unstable ingots. So let's start from the Draconium. I've already done hand batches of Draconium, right, using the X asterisk sieve. For Draconium, I'm specifically going to use the X asterisk sieve because of these fortune upgrades, and as well as the X asterisk hammer. Oh, look, I have a target here because of the fortune upgrades. So let's take both of these blocks and set them up again, except this time being fed by the AE system. For now, I'll continue to use the system for creating endstone that I set up with logistics pipes. Right, it's just redstone into a barrel. If it turns out that that's not fast enough, I'll set up something that's a bit more parallelized. Although the bottleneck, I guess for now, is definitely our lava production. Now that we have a effectively infinite amount of energy, we can also start producing lava with energy. It's a lot faster than producing lava with just passive heat, but it uses like a tremendous amount of RF to do so. Anyways, step 1. Hammer endstone to crush endstone. How much energy does a automatic hammer take if I give it heat upgrades? 540? That's like awful. Whatever. 540 energy is free now, so I don't really care. Anyway, step 1, hammer it. Step 2, sieve it. Here's the whole reason we're using the X asterisk is for the whole fortune upgrade thing. At least I'm reasonably confident that an X asterisk sieve with fortune upgrades is better than a X compressium sieve with a fortune book in it, although maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, this produces broken ores, and then I think we just have to craft them into that and then hammer them a few more times, right? The automatic hammer seems to be smart inputted, so it'll only allow crushable blocks in the input. So I'm just taking all the outputs, putting them into compacting drawers to turn them into block forms, and then putting the compacted version into the automatic hammer. Rinse and repeat. However, apparently, for some reason, crushed Draconium ore, is the only ore that doesn't compact into its block form correctly. I guess, yeah, it doesn't have a reverse crafting recipe for some reason. So it doesn't have the reverse recipe. I guess I can work around that. Draconium sand and eventually dust ores then will go into this auto compressor, which is it tries to craft them 2x2. If it doesn't work, then it tries to craft them 3x3. But it get turned into the sand or dust blocks, and then they just keep going through the process until eventually we're left with Draconium dust. So with the fortune upgrade, we seem to get very close to 2 Draconium per dust. Maybe there's a better output, but looking at this, that is definitely the highest average I could come up with. So at least of the ways that are shown in JEI, right? Because if we turn into Draconium ore, you can mine it with a fortune tool, but even that doesn't really give you more than 8 per ore average. So yeah. Wait. No, because then if I get back to this, no, that's not going to be a positive cycle. But anyways, all that's left is to store this Draconium dust into a drawer. On second thought, I figured I'd rather store it in ingot form, and then if we need dust, we can crush it back into dust form on demand. Because we'll definitely use more ingots than we will dust. So just added a redstone furnace here that cooks the output here. Let me just show you the wiring. It's I mean, it's not a mess because we get to run it all in the same block space, but it definitely takes advantage of channels a lot. So coming out of the auto compressor on the, what is that, teal channel? Is that what it's called? Cyan. Um, it goes into, wait, no, this insert's on purple. Oh, because it comes out of the automatic hammer on purple. This input is filtered to only allow these things in, whereas this input is filtered to only allow draconium dust in. So draconium dust goes into the redstone furnace, gets cooked into ingots, and gets stored in a drawer, which is connected to our ME system. All right, so now that's a draconium taken care of. Next up, let's just make the emerald ore by hand. That's very easy because we can take a block of emerald and a block of stone. Oh boy, I need vanilla stone. And run them through an induction smelter. I'm just going to do this like one stack of each by hand because that's almost definitely enough for the rest of the pack. And this will, wow, this is an incredibly slow process. Produce emerald ore. And a bunch of invar, apparently. I think I was just batch crafting this earlier. Well, I'll take it. Ah. Next up, let's just craft a bunch of these etheric swords. We're going to need more than one grinder eventually, and I'm not planning on making the stabilized ingot anytime soon. So, let's see. Oh, other way around. Maybe 64 is a bit much to do at once. In fact, let's clean up my inventory. I'm going to see if I can... Is this an even number of slots? 9 plus 7, yeah. I might regret this. Let's try doing... What is this, 16 at once? And see how it... Oh, there's no way I'm not blowing up. Alright, here's the blowing up. Yeah, that wasn't even close. But hey, at least my respawn was close. The worst part about dying? The grave mod in this version doesn't retain your inventory slots. Alright, well that was perhaps a little bit too ambitious. We'll make like, I guess 2 swords at a time is my limit, not 8. So much less exciting when you're not at risk of, when there's no reasonable risk of blowing up. It's like a leisurely stroll through the park. Well, that was my first death in a while, but I've got a whole bunch of etheric swords crafted now. What's next? I guess I could just directly craft the grinder. No point crafting Sword of the Wyvern, they're not very useful. I guess let's do the mana dust. So if memory serves me right, mana dust is made by pouring primal mana over mana infused metal. I actually think it's easier to make the pure mana blocks than turn them into dust as needed, because this uses mana infused block. All right, step 1, let's make primal mana. If memory serves me, yeah, this is EXP and Draconium. It's basically just Draconium, but you need a lot of it to make primal mana, right? You need... Well, it's only 360. Actually, is it a worse ratio if you do this? Oh, no, not that one. Is that... No, that's 360 times 9. Alright, well, I mean, I guess I'll just get a lot of EXP and Primal Mana, and Draconium, and make a batch of Primal Mana. Draconium will obviously come from Draconium ingots, so let's melt some of those. And the Primal, or the EXP, I'll just drain out of our Experience Obelisk as needed. The Experience Obelisk is capable of pushing directly into the smelter drain, but it's also like incredibly slow at that, so. Extract, active with signal, insert, and I just need a lever. I'm gonna put the lever on this. Alright, this works. So when I flip the lever, it starts pumping experience into... Oh, wait, does it? Or did I get a little bit of experience in there? Oh, it probably put that in while I was clicking through the modes. You know what? Screw it then. Auto extract always. There we go. And that makes primal mana. Alright, that's enough. You can stop now. And then I'm just melting a little bit, the rest of our remaining 2 stacks. But wait, you can stop. I told you to stop. 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 Never active. Well, there's a lot of liquid EXP in this smeltery now. Let me take this primal mana and just store it in a drum. Here's where the crafting starts getting a little bit weird. So the pure mana requires pouring primal mana over a mana infused block, or mithril, I think it's its other name. And I don't think there's a well, if you look in JEI, it doesn't tell you the easy way to make mithril. Looking at this, you'd be forgiven for thinking that you were supposed to get mana infused ore from a laser drill. In fact, as far as I know, that's the only way JEI tells you about it. It leaves out a secret recipe. This is really what defines experts, right? The people that know the recipes that JEI doesn't show you for some reason. Take a bucket of the primal mana and put it around blocks of silver, and it has to be thermal foundation silver, and it becomes mana infused blocks, at which point you can just harvest it, and yeah, there's your mana infused block. I honestly don't know why this interaction exists, why is it documented, and why it's used like this, but this is definitely easier than actually setting up a laser drill to get mithril. I think there's other transmutations you can do along the same lines. I think it does a lead to gold or something like that, but gold isn't actually any more valuable than lead, so that doesn't help me. But yeah, if we end up needing a lot of this stuff, I'll set up automation for it, because these blocks take literally forever to break. But for now, 8 blocks would just suffice. Here's a cool thing too. For recipes that have to be made in a casting basin, the existence of the smelter here is actually implied, but it's not required. You can directly use a casting basin without a smeltery. So we can pipe our mana-infused blocks into there, and then grab our tank, put it above, set it to output mode, and we'll automatically pour the primal mana onto the mana-infused blocks. No smeltery required. And then you just need some way to extract it. And this will automatically produce these pure mana for us, so long as we have enough primal mana in this tank. So it's a little over 3 buckets per, so this will make I have 1 block, there's a second block crafting, and it'll make 3 more. So this will make us 5 blocks of pure mana. That's definitely enough for the short term, although maybe down the road we'll have to automate it fully. Oh boy. Yeah, we will definitely have to automate it better than I have done it now, because the Draconic gear uses a whole lot of it. We can use a similar trick for crafting the Wyvern energy core. This is just pouring redstone over Wyvern cores. And man, not being able to import these non-crafting recipes is really annoying. I have to draw it myself. And since I don't have one to draw with, I have to pull in a full stack from NEI and then right-click it 63 times to bring it down to 1. Anyways, that'll be the recipe. And if you click too many times, you have to start over, right? You can't, go from 0 back up to 1. That'll be the recipe, and then I'll use a magma crucible to melt redstone blocks to provide the redstone for it. For all practical intents and purposes, I have an infinite supply of redstone, so I'm just going to keep a large buffer of molten redstone here, because it takes significantly longer to melt redstone than this casting process here actually takes. So, I have a magma crucible. It melts redstone blocks into redstone fluid, destabilized redstone, that stores it in a tank, which constantly tries to pour it on the casting table, but until a Wyvern core shows up on the casting table. In fact, let's just request the craft. The redstone can't go anywhere, but as soon as the Wyvern core appears, it can pour the 7 and change buckets onto it. It'll cast over time, and what's left is a Wyvern energy core. And then I just have to pipe that back into the ME system. And remember that casting tables are also smart outputted, so like it won't let you extract the insert item, like the Wyvern core, because it's the input will never be extracted. So anyways, that should complete the craft. Yep, and that's a Wyvern energy core. Bear in mind here, I'm using directly a Tesseract to supply the Magma Crucible instead of connecting to the energy net here, because these energy conduits only do 2,000 per network, not 2,000 or 20,000 per network, not 20,000 per connection. And a Magma Crucible, while it runs, uses a tremendous 8,000 RF a tick. So I don't want to put that load on our somewhat, energy limited network. I think we're in the home stretch now. There's one more thing, right? Yep, I just have to gather up 5 nether stars. I used the one that I had earlier to make that Wyvern energy core. So, I guess this still works, right? I just have to turn it on. Do I even do that? There we go. I'll just can't kill 5 withers by hand. While I'm here getting my wither skeleton skulls, I figured I may as well actually finally put these drawer upgrades in. I mean, they don't hurt, and it's not like I'm going to ever run out of emeralds, so... Before I build this wither, let's make sure the thing is on solid damage to hostile players. Alright, so even when we actually do the final wither killing, I don't think I'll do it right here, like I'll actually move this setup because it's very loud, but I will continue to use the RF Tool's shield as the containment cage. Let's get a bow. What do I have on this bow? Just power? I should make a better bow, huh? But, hey, die. Apparently, I just got the Monster Hunter achievement. Good job, Jimmy. You're a Monster Hunter. Conveniently, this also gives yellow hearts. We can use that to get, the next row of hearts, if we so desire. Down the line, anyways. 5 wither kills later, and I think we're ready to request a mob grinder. Indeed. Alright. I've had it. Now, as for how I'm going to spawn the wither, well, let's not get there yet. Let's first set up a place to actually fight it. I don't know. It's like I can either do it like out of this corner of the base, or I could do it like not on the base just in case it gets free. That's probably a good safety measure. Let's do it in the nether. Well, but if I do it in the nether, I'm gonna have to run the wireless thing. Let's go do it by the farm then. I don't really care if something happens, the farm might get destroyed, but hopefully nothing happens. Moved our wither cage down here underneath the mob farm, or the farm. I think idle withers, if they don't have anything to attack, just like gravity float down, right? So the idea is hopefully that they'll just gravity float down into the void and not shoot a wither beam at the drawers that have stuff in it that will definitely crash the server if they break them. Whatever. I'm not planning on letting the wither free. As for how I'm going to get the wither into the cage, this version of Minecraft does not have a convenient wither builder that spawns a wither 2 blocks above it if given the right blocks with a 1 block air gap. That would be perfect, but it doesn't exist. So we're going to have to build the wither outside of the cage because the blocks that actually build the wither need to be blast proof. And then teleport the wither into the cage with this translocation plate. So the way the translocation plate works is that when you step on it, it teleports you in the direction it's pointing a fixed number of blocks. Well, a configurable number of blocks. By default is 10, and obviously that would be bad. That would put us on the other side of the cage, not inside it. To configure this, you need... I forget, it's one of Thermal's weird things. Why is my night vision not on? There we go. Is it the multimeter or something? I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't know why it doesn't just use a wrench to configure, but I guess it uses a wrench to change mode. Alright, well, let me go make a multimeter. Right-click the plate with the multimeter. Shift right-click, rather, and you can choose how far it sends you. Yeah. Oh, you can even redstone control it, apparently. So I want this one to send like 4-ish blocks, is that right? Yeah, it seems, let's go 1 more so it's a bit more centered in the cage. 5. So now we just have to spawn the Wither above this. When it touches it, it gets teleported into its cage here. The plan is to place soul sand using some formation planes. Those are fed from an interface here with a... Wait, at least... Where's my soul sand? 1 second. Alright, so this one should be configured to export soul sand to here. There we go. And this is on its own subnet here. It's connected via quartz fiber so that it receives ME power, but not channels. And before I get carried away, let's test it out. Make sure if I place the Wither skeleton skulls here, it actually works. Alright, that definitely put the Wither inside the cage. I haven't actually put the mob grinder down yet, so the Wither will die very slowly. The cage is still on damage mode. Like, the cage itself will eventually kill a Wither. It's just that it uses quite a bit of power to do so. You see each damage tick costs like 20,000 RF. It's not a tremendous amount of power because like 20,000 RF isn't actually a lot of RF, but it's slow, which is a problem. So that's why I want to use the grinder. Anyways, now that we place the soul sand, I just need a way to place the Wither skeleton skulls. One limitation is that the Wither skeleton skulls have to be placed after the soul sand is placed. Not least of which because I think Wither skeleton skulls have to be placed on blocks. Well, I guess they don't. Never mind. But if you complete the Wither skeleton by placing a piece of soul sand, like, let me demonstrate, I think. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to... You're gonna have to trust me on this, I guess. If you, if the last piece you place on the Wither multi-block is the soul sand, it doesn't actually form. So, I guess it's not really a problem. Formation planes are like the fastest block placing thing in the world, right? Let's test this out then. I'll use open blocks block placers to place the Wither skeleton skulls because they are redstone sensitive, so we can quite easily control the timing. I have a timer here set to 10 seconds, so every 10 seconds it should place a set of 3 skulls. I'm going to stop it after the first one because, again, I don't have the grinder placed yet. But that should place... Oh, I didn't do anything. Maybe these need to be strong signals. Right, let's try that again. Place the skulls. No. Oh. Maybe it just doesn't like placing them from the top down. Let's try placing the skulls from the side. Try putting the skulls in the machine as well, shall we? Alright. And go. There we go. Perfect. So, every 10 seconds that I leave this timer on, as long as we have skulls distributed in the block placers, it'll spawn a Wither. Next up, let's just place the mob grinder. So the Draconic Evolution mob grinder is a very simple grinder. You know, I'm gonna let this Wither die first, so I don't have to talk over it. All you have to do is place the grinder facing the direction you want it. You can probably rotate it after too. So I think you want the swords facing the bad guys. Ooh, if you shift right click with the red, it shows you its area. But this is clearly not the right way. And it is not liking to rotate, apparently. There we go. So swords facing the inside. This here looks like an output face. It doesn't actually do anything. This grinder doesn't actually pick up its drops. Its range is 9x9, I believe. 9x9x9, maybe. It's large enough to cover the entire cage. That's the point. So, now when I turn this on... Please, I can't flip switch it. You're not allowed to like that. Switch here, cheating. Can't flip switches from the wrench, apparently. But when this Wither gets built, it will be killed by that mob grinder basically as soon as it does its spawn explosion. So, again, I'm only going to spawn one because I don't have the item pickup done yet. But as soon as it forms and does its kaboom, boom, the grinder just kills it. And it kills it with player damage, so you get all the player damage drops. That's basically the division sigil. If you do no player damage to a Wither, you don't get the division sigil. But yeah, that's that. Now the last step is to pick up the drops and store them somewhere. It's a little congested underneath the shield here, but now I'll turn the shield off. I'm picking up the items with an Ender Collector. Have it set to max range, which is 4.0. It'll store the items into this controller network, which just has voided drawers for each thing. I mean, regardless of whether or not the drawers void the items, right? If the drawers aren't voiding them, they'll just despawn. And if I ever reach a point where I have a full drawer full of nether stars, I really care if I'm voiding the, 100,000th nether star. Anyways, now at this point, if everything works, I should just be able to turn this on and leave it on. So let's, turn it on and let it run a couple cycles. I just want to make sure it doesn't explode catastrophically, say if like two withers end up inside at the same time or anything. Well, that shouldn't be a problem because the first wither should get killed by the time the second one is ready to go. Yeah, the timing works out just fine. It looks like it has at least a chance to drop sulfur as well, so I'll add a drawer for that. The explosion, when the wither spawns, normally damages blocks in quite a radius around it, but the RF Tool shield absorbs all that, conveniently enough. So this all seems to be working fine. This does drop EXP. One change that the RF Tool, or not the RF Tools, the Draconic Evolution mob grinder does, is that if it kills mobs and causes them to drop EXP, it makes a EXP orb despawn in 30 seconds instead of the usual, I think it's like a minute and a half that EXP orbs stay around. So it's a low enough amount of EXP that I honestly probably don't even care to pick it up. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it despawn. Withers don't drop a lot of EXP. But anyways, I guess all that's left is to put a storage bus on the drawer here so that we can access these items from our ME system and have automated nether stars. I left out another step too, and that was to automatically supply wither skeleton skulls to the block places. So supplied via interface, distributed via round robin mode. Easy as that. So with this, now I think we're actually done with automated nether star production. If I check in here, yeah, there we go, 22 nether stars. Our wither skeleton skull production is still way short of sufficient to keep that running, at full uptime. Because right now we're just getting wither skeleton skulls from this little thing, and like only one in 150 whatever withers actually drops a skull because we're killing it with without any beheading effect. So we'll definitely have to revisit this at some point down the line and improve our wither skeleton skulls. However, I don't want to do that right now. So we started down this entire journey though because I needed nether stars to make the solar panel. So let's see about making quantum solar panels. Let's start with one. We can definitely do one. All right, go. Can we do 4 more? No, I was afraid the bytes would overflow, but I guess it's just our coal dust. It doesn't know how to on-demand make coal dust, and our coal dust passive crafting only keeps 2,000 in. Oh no, I put an upgrade in it, but it hasn't had a chance to fill the upgrade out yet. I see. Well, whatever. I'll request more from time to time as, it becomes available, like as we make more coal dust. But for now, this crafting is just chugging along here. So it has to make 8 ultimate hybrids to make a single quantum solar panel. I think the quantum during the day makes, it's 8 times the ultimate hybrid, effectively. So during the day, it makes 4,000 EU a tick, or is that right? Yeah, because this is 512, right? So during the day it would make 4,000, a bit over 4,000 EU a tick, and at night it makes, I don't know, some amount of EU, but that's a lot of energy. 16,000 RF a tick during the day, completely passively in a single block space. It's just that to make it, you need a lot of Iridium. So I'm gonna leave this here. The estimate says 52 seconds. That is a lie. It'll probably be closer to like 5 to 10 minutes to run all the compressor steps and stuff. But when it's done, we'll have a quantum solar panel. After is just finishing up. The bottleneck was the advanced alloy in the compressor, as I expected. And we're almost at our first quantum solar. There it goes. Let's grab it. So with the quantum solar in hand, we actually have, I mean, I wouldn't say we're close to the creative energy cell. We still have to make like all the flux capacitors and a whole lot of enhanced Galgadorium blocks. But with the exception of the draconic flux capacitors and the enhanced Galgadorium blocks, we can actually craft everything in the creative energy cell. Although I suppose that's really only there's only one item here that's like of the stuff we can create. Lumium doesn't really count as a block, and pellets of RTG fuel are very simple, relatively speaking. So, of the real blocks, right, the quantum solar panels, the draconic flux capacitors, and the enhanced Galgadorian, we're 1/3 of the way there. Still, just see how much it produces. So, I guess, yeah, so it produces 4,000 during the day, and I think it's 1/4 of that, so 1,000 at night, and it can be picked up with a pickaxe, because once again, advanced solar panels is a good IC2 add-on. So I'll just add this here. All of its energy will go into making more iridium. And on that note, let's wrap up today's episode here. I meant to get around to doing some more magic stuff today, but looks like that didn't happen, so that'll be where we start tomorrow, I think. I can items connect to this. I can charge items. I see. But yeah, tomorrow we'll start with, we'll get back to doing more Thaumcrafty, blood magic goodness. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.